Hello guys, Linker here with an update to this Endgame campaign signature item tier list. So since last month there's many changes to make, especially since Endgame campaign was reworked. This is why I revisited this tier list with the best players I know, and in this video I will go change by change, explaining each signature item's impact on the meta. But just before that, like and subscribe, it helps me heaps with the algorithm and making content as a whole. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So what are we going to do in this video? We're going to first briefly talk about the tier list and campaign changes, then move heroes from previous tier list viability changes. So these are heroes that we already moved to, so we just are going to apply them. Next will be the changes to each tier in ascending order, and lastly we'll place the new heroes that are down here. I'll put timestamps and benchmarks in the description for you guys' comfort. Starting with the tier list, the tiers are the signature item rankings, a hyphen, and then the hero rankings. For example, these are going to be average signature items for meta heroes. There's two exceptions to this. First, there's going to be rework, please. Well, this is my way to ask Lilith to buff subpar signature items for subpar heroes, and then niche carving transformative. This is one that I renamed. And these are going to be the signature items that completely transform heroes' functionalities. So these are heroes that wouldn't be meta if not for their signature items, and these are going to be signature items that really change them around. I also want to briefly explain the numbers next to the heroes. These are benchmarks. I want to explain what they mean and what they don't. Benchmarks are signature item levels that make the biggest change in hero functionality when accounting for return on investment, which means that if you want to invest in a hero signature items, these levels change the hero the most. However, this does not mean, and I'm going to repeat it, it doesn't mean this is the level you should take the signature item. Lorsen, for example, this guy. Lorsen is a hero that gains a unique ability plus 20, really matters for his signature item, but because of the way he's used currently, I would recommend just unlocking the item and not much further than that. Some heroes actually benefit the most from the stat gains they gain every 5 levels. One of those, for example, is going to be Gwyneth. So Gwyneth is a hero that really needs haste and thus benchmarks at 25. Now, let's go over the changes. First, there's going to be a few changes from past tier lists in terms of hero viability. First of all, there's going to be Mizoth. And Mizoth is going to move to average for meta, and the reason is that he just sees more usage than he used to. We saw this, we talked about in earlier tier lists, I'll link down below. He plays in many tank stages alongside Brutus Thorn when he's used defensively, and sets like Daemon and Screg and anything that needs a tank virtually. So just really meta in those late game chapters we break into 37, 38. We know Mizoth is a strong hero overall. Thorn is going to stay where he is. Sees usage in endgame cheese. I hate to say it, but it's what it is, so I just have to say that. Lorsen, now I know I moved him down in a previous tier list, but I actually want to take that back. So I moved him down, I want to move it back up to where he is. I'll keep him where he is. Sees usage in many endgame sets, good for ones like Aaron, also bad sets like Cheese. You see Lorsen use the cross functionalities in the endgame campaign stages, so I move him back up to the meta heroes tier. Signature item still not very impactful. Estrilda is going to move down to average for average. Great hero in win cores that slightly fall off in viability, interchangeable with Hendrik. We see Hendrik picking up the edge in the very end game, so it can be substituted for many things. As a hero as a whole, not as good. Signature item itself is average, but we're not even talking about it, just the hero change as a whole. Next, there's going to be a few changes in the bottom 3 tiers. Very few. Theo, I just want to mention, starts to see some huge, for example, in Thorin Sith, we see her doing lots of damage, really not discovered yet with her CC Energy Steal, needs investment, so can move her up for now. And then Thane, he's going to move up. Thane has to move up. The reason he moves up is that the recent fix to his signature item actually makes him apply those extra ticks on the ultimate, making his signature item better than he used to be. As a hero, not as consistent, but we see players that invest in him really enjoy the signature item, so justifies a single move up. Out of the worst tier there is, also no rework, at least for now. Next is going to be just the average heroes. So there's going to be many changes in these 3 tiers over here, and the reason is as the meta develops, the campaign retries, there's many winners and losers that we were able to test in this bracket. Lucius is going to move all the way down to average for subpar. Reason that's going to happen is he sees almost no usage in the end game. Sad for me, I like this guy, but he just does not see enough use to justify him as on the 1%, about 5% at most in chapter 36 and onward, so just not good enough. Anarchy also is going to drop 1 tier, average for average. Great guy in Invade Core, a great hero in 5 pull as well in some variants. Oscar also dropping down to average for average. He's a unique case. Thing is, his signature item in most means is niche carving because it changes his functionality. It's just not good enough to warrant building it to make him that good. It just needs more testing, doesn't see enough use yet, but I believe it's one hero alongside Citrana, for example, alongside Scrag, that will see further usage and will be moved up drastically. Odin is another one that's not discovered yet. He has a portal, Ambi and Grub love him, but it's not mainstream enough, so I can't change him just now. Kelthar, him carrying is going to be mostly PvP, so Kelthar carry is something very interesting to test with, but what he does see use in terrible sets like Thor and Cheese, the signature item itself is not the reason that succeeds. He usually succeeds because of the mechanics, where he teleports and stays alive and just does the less bit of damage that Thorin has with retaliation, so has to move down because the signature item is not used with the way the hero works right now. Next one is going to be Ukyo. He's extremely niche with Gwyneth, so also sees a move down. Very strong, possibly as a carry. Might go up with accuracy heroes and mechanics introduced, but moves down for now. Skriath has to move up as a hero. Now, about Skriath, he's a one-trick pony in 5 pull just for the furniture, but it's just so good. With the signature item, I'll actually put it in subpar. I'm doing it right now live with you, because the signature item does not synergize with the reason that he is meta. It's a good SI overall, it does the Sandstorm very fast and reduces movement speed, but just does not need it to pull off what he does in the meta tier, which is just the 5 pull use. I'd love to see him in the future used in some Sol comps, but we see him used a lot in this 5 pull. It slightly falls off to the very late, but still it's just so viable, even as a one-trick pony, moves up to meta. Love to see another Mauler, and another one that's going to move up is Sprague. Sees a lot of usage even for his mitigation alone, has to move up to average for average. Now this is one I believe in the future will be discovered and move even further up, just so strong in those invade courts with his furniture. Now even just the hero as he is really enjoys the energy, really enjoys the quick ults, because once he also becomes so much more tanky and so much better in terms of CC, so just a strong hero, and if you invest in the signature item, you likely won't regret it. Warrants a move up for another Mauler. Rain seems to be good since her rework, but we still need some more experimentation. See some use in those dimensional sets with Ainz, Albedo, all of these, but we don't know enough yet to move that up. Benchmarking at plus 10 because the shield is not as good, but the health and energy buff is pretty interesting, at least interesting enough to make her benchmark at that 10, which makes her pretty much worth it, especially for Twisted Realm. But remember, this is a campaign tier list, so until we see the campaign use, we can't bump her up quite yet. Now we get you up to speed with a background. Let's talk about the most important changes. These are going to be the meta heroes. These are going to be the heroes that we prioritize first. These are going to be the heroes that matter the most. Wukong down to average. All the way down to average. Now the reason is he's meaningful, but nowhere near the impact of other heroes in this tier. While the signature item is very strong as a hero, you do see stages where he's not used, he's not as mainstream as we thought he is, and that signature item tier list was pretty old when the signature item for him was just rediscovered. Very strong hero, got reworked with his foresight, but still does not justify this high placement. Feral, I want to mention him. Now, there's a lot of talk about his signature item, about the furniture recently. White Sushi and other content creators talked about it a lot. I still see him used in virtually every single replay of Endgame campaign. He has this flexibility where you could just fit him on virtually every set. Really good hero, so I think his SI is required. The reason it's not 30 is that at 20 he gets most of the value back from it because it just stacks to 4 times. It takes a long time to stack it, but investment even up to 30 is not as bad, and the hero itself is used virtually everywhere. Pipa doesn't see as much usage as some other heroes, so Pipa a very strong hero that I want to talk about briefly, likely because she's hard to use, but I believe she's strong. We do see people that invest in her find those creative uses for her. The 20 really ships her around, the Acorn of the 30 is not as impactful as the 20 change, so Pipa, very strong hero, waiting for people to discover her, needs her investment, crucially needs her investment, very random. I feel like she still justifies her placement in the niche carving. Both Albedo and Ainz are gonna warrant a whole move up. And why? The reason is that we just see them. We see them everywhere. We see them in PvP, we see them in PvE. If you got these are limited time. You should get them right now if you haven't. They are worth the move up. They can on their own carry complete sets. They do take this investment to work, but they're incredible once invested. So definitely get the signature items for both Albedo and Irons, and definitely grab both of them before time's out, or we might not be able to do it again. Rosa, alright, quick mention and talk about Rosa in a meta for Gwyn usage but can be substituted. A signature item is necessary for Gwyn but might fall even further if Gwyn falls. For now she's going to move to subpar, and the reason she's going to be at subpar is that she can be substituted, and while what she does is great, it's just not that important to justify this placement for a hero that's counted as a meta hero for a placement that's mostly just in one set. The signature item, pretty good, does not warrant a fight with the likes of Athalia or Mihira, for example. Zafrael, quick mention, I did push that benchmark at 1 because the 1 is incredible, but he's a hero that takes a lot of investment. He's a great hero that we see very, very strong, might even move up in the future. For now, I'm keeping him here, but if you do grab Zafrael, I want to mention him for the fact that the benchmark and the investment levels are different, because he really enjoys every piece of scaling that you can get your hands on. And next, Lucretia. Lucretia still experimented with, got a huge buff, might even move her up here, but before moving her up here, I know this is the tier that people really prioritize. I want to see some more stats. I want to see how good she is. Very strong in our cheese sets. Really nice hero. Signature item really enables her, but we need some more data. Twins becoming more crucial as the meta develops. There are heroes that even for the stats they go up. Like look, 25 gives them magical resistance, but being able to give them extra stats that they sometimes link on the front line, being able to give them this extra resistance is very strong in multiple modes, and they move up even just for the campaign alone. While the 30 is not that good of an ability, you do want your twins invested up to 25 because it will make your sets more consistent, whether you use them for the God comp, other types of engine with Irons and Albedo, doesn't really matter, they see use all around the place, definitely warrant this move up, even if just for the stats. Ezio also sees lots of use. This might surprise some of the players that I consulted with, because this is one I thought about after the fact. Both in PvP and campaign, chapter 37, a signature item gives him damage mitigation. That isn't the biggest. The reason he warrants this whole move up is the fact that Ezio gets dodge. Now, dodging Ezio is a tricky thing because he stacks it through the fight. And if he gets to a critical point, once he passes a certain point, it just can't be hit and he wins the match. So the extra investment in his dodge is going to make this whole spiral way up, where at first, like, fighters can't hit him, and next, like, even assassin heroes can't hit him. It makes the whole curve way better for him as the fight goes through. So even if just for the stats warrants this whole move up, damage mitigation also not too bad as well. Now, we also have the new heroes to talk about, and I know this is the part a lot of you like. Mortis, his benchmark is going to be at 20, and the reason is the AoE on greed, stealing energy, applying on his stuff like HP percent damage, it's big. However, he himself is average for average. Average for average, that's it. And Hypogeans, you might be telling me all Hypogeans are way up there, even Mazaf just got bumped for his usage. Why do you place him so low? For what we know, for the experimentation we've done, he's a buffer that goes well with carries, but he does see some contestments. It's not like Twisted Realm where he has very certain boss sets that he fits. If you talk about campaign, he's not trivial to fit. He's not that straightforward. So Mortis, one of those heroes that is less good of a Hypogean, but definitely if you do grab him, has the utility in the small AoE that he does bring to the table. Silas, early use indicates he is going to be meta. Very strong meta, in fact. Signature item similar to Leica with a plus 13 benchmarks. I'll put him in niche carving for now. The reason I'm putting him in niche carving for now is just that we need to see where he goes with how good his buff is, but he seems just so good. You might be making the argument, Leica, why, if it's as good as Leica, why wouldn't you move him up? You're talking about endgame campaign, it's not that big of an investment. And the argument would be that Leica's whole kit synergizes with a signature item. For example, Aaron, it's easier to fit Leica with Aaron because she reduces defense, she gives haste. Silas has a little less trivial, while you do fit him in many different sets. You can use him with Isol, you can use him with Gwyneth. I think niche carving is fair because it really gives him this extra buff that's so crucial for him. It's a really good signature item, and it's one of those heroes that might even become meta in the future. Just a really strong hero overall. Alna is the Lyre Celestial. We don't yet know much about her, but since she's a Celestial that's being introduced, I'm pretty sure she'll find a home somewhere up here in those top tiers. So, and with that, many changes. Many changes. I'm gonna keep her down here. Oh, I can't. Then I'll put her over here for now. You guys will have to excuse me for that. I don't know what she's gonna be like, but I anticipate Celestials are gonna be very, very strong. We don't even have her icons yet. And the meta is very dynamic with all the endgame changes and mechanics, and I feel like this was needed. While it took quite some work consulting with the top players and editing, it's something I'm happy to do. Guys, girls, if you like this, please let me know. It means a lot. Subscribe, like, and I've been Linker. Peace.